Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people. Right. You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Royale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah. I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm somnambulic. John, yes.
Gesundheit, JD.
Apparently everyone's tired this week, so let's get this going before we all fall asleep. Let's start with John. How was your week, buddy?
Well, I told you guys, and you told me not to say anything. So no, dealing with horrible manager, but also on the bright side, the fall season of anime has gotten into swing, and there are a couple of gems, a couple of really weird gems, and otherwise, we had DC Con,
Fandoomy.
It's like is that like the Jadoom? You wouldn't know that, you're not Doctor Who fans. Okay,
Fandoon.
Yeah, Van Dune.
Okay. Anyway.
So yeah, good and
exactly.
bad. I got pumpkins, so
All right. Well, there you go. You're ahead of the game. My daughter took a long time to find pumpkins this year, but she's got them too. So
we got pumpkins. We got pumpkins. We're gonna carve them tomorrow night.
So who's behind the times, Dave?
I don't know. I don't get pumpkins anymore. So so besides your pumpkins, how are you doing, JD?
I'm good, man. I had a busy day today. I officially launched a new project. I'm doing a Kindle Vella. Some of you were saying, now, JD, what, pray tell, is a Kindle Vella? And I would have said 3 weeks ago, I have no idea, but now I do. No, so apparently Amazon has this new platform they're calling Vella, which is, my wife figured this out, is short for novella. And I'm like, oh. So anyways, what, I'm dumb. What they're doing is they're releasing stories in these like bite-sized chunks, right? That are like, they want these, they're calling them episodes. It's like releasing a novel, a chapter at a time.
They're like the old serials in the early 1900s.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. They're trying to bring back that model for bingeable content. My first thought was, well, isn't the novel like the most bingeable content one can have?
Right.
But no, they want a release schedule. So I said, screw it. If you guys recall way back yonder in the summer of 2017, you had a guest on the show who was promoting a comic book project that he was doing. And he got the first issue of said comic book project done before he had to fire said artist for being a flake. So said project never got finished because he actually turned to be better at the novel writing thing. So I decided to bring Red Sunrise back in this form. So I'm trying it out. Nobody's doing phenomenal with these things, but I figured, what the hell? I do this whole thing, and if it works out, I got another novel under my belt, and I get to do it kind of, small chunks at a time. So the first 3 episodes are live. They're on Amazon, Red Sunrise, and they're free to read. So, if you like it beyond, then you got to pay. But this has been it's been pretty cool. Like I have about 8 episodes finished, so I'm going to be releasing them every Monday and every Friday until I finish. And it's a samurai vampire story, same as before. I'm very excited about it.
I was going to say they want content they can schedule. Have they met artists and authors?
That's the idea with it, and that's why a lot of people are struggling to create it. But I live pretty much by schedule, so for me, and I'm pretty quick, so it's not hard. It's interesting because they're meant to be running your phone, right? So you can't have big paragraphs because it looks intimidating. So I did a class, I was shooting that thing in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and the lady who knows all about this is like, you should have no more than 2 to 3 sentences in your paragraphs. So that's a challenge, right? that's very different than how most people write, and they want more dialogue. And my stuff tends to be, because I come from comics, dialogue driven. So for me, I'm like, well, let's get this was formatted as a comic. This is supposed to be serialized. Let's try this out. And I literally made this decision like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, man, it's been pretty fun, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, nobody is making a killing with this right now. So what the hell? Why not try something a little different?
Well, this is like that's something for somebody who, like the guy who wrote the Destroyer serials, right? Like he was pumping out a book like that a week, or Arthur Conan Doyle, right?
Yeah, that's Dickens did the same thing, right? That's how people used to get storytelling done, right? We've kind of moved away from that, but they're trying to. It's funny, like Kindle's trying to mimic like Netflix, but they already have that with Unlimited. But whatever, this is a new platform, and there are a lot of platforms that are very successful doing stories like that. Usually it's romance, but romance tends to dominate the book market anyway. So nothing but respect for romance writers. They're machines, and they're awesome at what they do. Kudos. Not for me though. So we're trying a little historical fiction horror thing. And yeah, I don't know. I just put it up today. So like, how's it going? I have no idea. So I mean, like, I literally don't know. But if you will attach these notes this week, go ahead and give it a try, man. It's the first 3 episodes, like 3,000 words. You know, you probably have it read in like 10 minutes.
Is this a separate app or something, or?
Oh no, so you can do it all through your Kindle.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So if you got the Kindle app, you just click on it's got a different ASN number, and just go and read it. It's pretty cool. Like it's different. Like there's not covers. Like you just have a little circle with a little like an avatar, like a Twitter logo in there. And I still have that vampire head that I paid for years ago. So I'm just using that.
Nice.
Yes. I saw that pop up on Facebook. I'm like, wait, he's not sharing a memory. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I decided to bring it back, and we'll see how it goes.
And this isn't a paid promotion, just to make sure we're promoting JD's work, but he
damn well
so.
No. This is the time is the payment, man. I've been here for 4 years. Doing time.
We pay in references.
John's paid me plenty over the years, to be honest with you. So this is something, John, you can look at without having to pay me money for.
Only when I want you to kill me, and I'm like I feel the hand of doom on me again. I would like to die.
I got something coming, probably first of the year.
Oh man,
I'll call back on this.
Yeah. That's going to be one of the most interesting running gags in literature. This guy dies in every book.
I appreciate it. I think it's a pretty good gag.
If any of our other author friends want to kill somebody, I am willing to pay to die. In paragraph.
Let's make John O'Grady the most murdered name in fiction.
Yes.
But then eventually he's going to be his own slasher character because he keeps dying and coming back.
Ooh, I'm gonna write that down. There's something there.
I'm already a supervillain in the in the other universe.
In Hope, yes.
Yeah.
You pretty much are on the show too, so
I am the evil genius. That is one of my, or Dark Regent at work. So in addition to Dragon Tamer, that is my other name, Dark Regent or Evil Genius.
Oh, I'm not sure about the genius part. But anyway.
You haven't seen my work yet. Go on, Dave.
So what have I been up to? Not much, actually, this week. Though, had a rough day at work. I'm not going to get into it. But this morning I got up. So last week I decided, I realized I hadn't been upping the weights at the gym. So last week I upped the weights. And then today I'm like, I'm going to up the weight again. And I did it, went through my whole routine. I get to the last machine I do is the ab crunch machine. And I finish 3 sets. And I'm like, okay. And I get up so I can wipe the machine down. And I'm like, ow. I had this really bad cramp in my abs afterwards. And at first I'm like, is this a hernia?
Some of us don't need machines to make our bodies go crunch. It just comes with age.
But I was like, no, it was just a cramp because it felt better after like a few minutes. But oh my God. I was like, did I push myself too hard? And I'm like, no, Chris Hemsworth. That's my goal. He pushes himself that hard. And I don't want to take steroids, so we'll see.
He's a lot smaller than he used to be.
This is true.
He's in good shape. He looks good. But I recently saw Thor 1 again, and sweet Jesus.
He was huge.
He was huge. I'm sure that came about naturally.
And the hair.
The hair was also huge.
That's been a running joke. There was a running joke in the What If, though. Everybody's commenting on his hair.
I also
silky hair.
I also still can't get over that they dyed his eyebrows and goatee or beard blonde in the first one.
The first one they did do that, didn't they?
Yes.
I couldn't place why he looked different, but you're right. That's exactly what it is.
And that's what it is, and it looks so weird.
Yeah.
Thank God they stopped that.
I kept looking at him like something about him looks off, and I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they live and learn.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I haven't done much. Oh, well, my sister's birthday. My sister's birthday is actually today as we record, but we celebrated that on Saturday. Pizza and cake. Woohoo! Exactly.
Go Dave, get crazy.
When you get to our age, that's pretty much what you do.
Yeah, our idea of crazy is we put pepperoni on the pizza.
Ah, well, yeah, at our age, that's tricky. Heartburn.
Exactly. It's like, pepperoni and was it omeprazole, which is
when Andy turned 4, his mom made him a Ninja Turtle cake, and it was like shaped like it looked like a pizza with the turtles on there.
Nice.
So it was I forget what she used for pepperoni. It was like slices of like some type of frosting or something. It looked perfect.
But it was tasty.
It was awesome. It was also gluten-free.
I was gonna say, was it gluten-free?
Yes, because I got the sissy belly.
Yes, you're a sissy. I mean,
no argument.
Hey, my sister too. Like, I know a lot of people with that. One of my brothers as well.
I was working at Starbucks today, and I got hungry, and I bought some of their almonds, and they were not gluten-free. And I was at practice today, and the head coach asked me to leave the gym for 20 minutes because I could not stop farting.
Wow, I didn't realize.
My brother-in-law's wife claimed that she had it for a long time, for a while, and she kept getting thinner and thinner. And we're like we thought she was really sick. And here my nephew was like, no, she's just doing Atkins and she doesn't want to tell anyone. So she told people she had celiac disease. So when they went to question her when she wasn't eating bread, and I was like, that's not.
As a member of the celiac community, we don't need any celiac posers. Because I would love nothing more than to have some real macaroni and cheese in my life, but no, that is not a possible thing. And if you've ever smelled me after something crosses past the goalie, you would understand why.
Yes, well, of course. Well, then, of course, there's also my niece's ex who claimed he was lactose intolerant, but yet would only eat pizza and macaroni and cheese.
And we're back to old man talk.
Exactly. I know. It was like, really? Like, everyone would call him out onto it. It's like, dude, if you are, why are you eating that?
It's like those vegetarians that go, or vegans go, yeah, but I only eat chicken.
Exactly.
Chicken's not meat.
It's not red meat. You can be honest with yourself and say, well, I don't eat red meat, and then you're fine. But don't say you're a vegan and you're eating a chicken salad sandwich.
This is true.
Or they eat fish, and it's like, well, then you're a pescatarian.
You're a pescatarian. You're not a vegetarian.
No, I don't eat meat. It's like fish is meat.
Fish has meat, man. A fish has muscle, and the muscle is delicious.
Yes,
delicious.
I could go for a piece of salmon right now. All right.
Salmon's good, man. You know what I really miss? Fried fish, because they have not mastered good gluten-free, like deep fried fish. It's all authentic. No, so I miss like legitimate fried fish, like a good old-fashioned fish fry with some tartar sauce and some French fries. That was great. Now I can't have that.
Yeah.
I wonder if an air fryer could do that for you.
We have an air fryer. We use the air fryer. It's just not the same.
It's not same when it's not breaded. Yeah.
Well, you can do because you can use the gluten-free breadings and stuff like that, but it's just not as good. And that's the big secret of gluten-free bread is the vast majority of it sucks ass.
You use
that is in fact not bread. That would be fattening.
No, not cheese. You use cheese with the gluten-free bread, and it acts almost like gluten.
Because then it will be the binding agent. I can see that, but then you're just eating cheese. I don't know. Which I guess if you're going keto, that would be.
Well,
fine.
You don't need that much cheese to make it work right.
I say
this because my sister had. Wait, what?
I really like cheese. So
Okay, well, I mean,
if the
you know,
cheese
you
is
can't
going
control
on,
yourself then.
if the cheese is going on, we're gonna make it count for something. That's all I'm saying.
Say, because my sister for my parents' 50th got a bunch of gluten-free, was it muffins or not muffins, rolls, and those went quicker than the regular rolls because they had the cheese in them. They tasted much better.
Oh, they have like
rolls.
these little Brazilian bite things that they kill at Costco, and they're like little bread balls, but it's made with cheese, and they are freaking fantastic, man. They're so good. All this and more in gluten-free superhero speak.
I think we've made our audience hungry at this point.
I think I'm gonna go grab something to eat real quick.
I'm hungry now.
Speaking of our audience, I think it's time for a little social media madness. Since we don't have What If to talk about this week.
Yeah, I know, right? We're waiting for the next one now. Was it Hawkeye or something?
Yeah,
next.
Not until Christmas.
Got a while.
I know. So we had talked about, remember a couple weeks ago, we had a couple friends of the show on, and we talked about our favorite and least favorite reboots.
Oh, yeah.
So in response to that,
I see you used a Schitt's Creek GIF in this.
Yes.
I never watched a single episode of Schitt's Creek, and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Oh, it is a very funny show. And so D Square said, "Did you try rebooting it?" God.
With the Carrie Elways version of Robin Hood.
Yes. The best version.
Some would say.
A Mega Level Nerds podcast said reboot system now. And then this is the one.
Wait, hold on. So D Square commented, and then Omega Level Nerds responded. So Don commented on his own post with his alternate account. I see what you're doing there.
Hey, he's controlling the narrative, you know?
Yes, that is how one controls the narrative.
Could be someone else running their social media over there. Who knows?
It is not. It is Don. If I'm incorrect, I'll eat my words on the show. But yes.
You're ruining the illusion.
That's what I do.
And then so Wizard said, WTF, I love reboots now. And it's the reboot cartoon that John talked about not that long ago on the show.
By the company Mainframe, the very first fully CGI animation.
Do you know who was the writer on that show?
Oh, was it
Straczynski?
Straczynski?
He might have been, but I'm not sure. Dan DiDio.
Oh.
Went on to lead DC Comics for some 15 years.
Wow.
Yes. Then we should ask him when the next chapter for the reboot cartoon's coming out.
I don't know what he's doing now since leaving DC, to be quite honest with you.
Probably whatever he wants.
He wasn't one of those that was pushed out in the big exodus.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
That's horrible.
I don't know. He turned down my project, so you win some, you lose some.
Well, okay then.
So you're calling that karmic justice, are you?
I'm not calling it karmic justice. I'm just saying sometimes people pass on you.
He's not calling it that. He's just insinuating. You know, he's asking questions. I mean,
it happens to the best and worst of us.
Mm.
So last week on the Poop Shoot News,
I don't think I'm topping that one.
We talked about JD. You talked about your idea for a Kingdom Come movie.
I must have. I forgot that I did, but yes.
Yeah, because don't you remember saying DC call me? And you went,
I say things like that all the time.
Yeah.
as I just bury Dan DiDio, they never call.
The ODPH podcast, Ocho Dorle
Parlay Hour. I love that one.
Said, after hearing the episode, I need that live action Kingdom Come movie ASAP.
It would be a badass movie.
Yes, if you could only remember what you said.
I can only remember the things that come out of my mouth. And actually, quite frankly, something we saw this week led me to believe that even more.
Something that we're going to possibly be talking about.
No spoilers.
In the news coming up?
Batman! No spoilers.
But which Batman?
Yes.
We've got 3 of them now, I think.
We're so overloaded on Batmans right now. It's ridiculous.
We're kind of Batman heavy.
Very Batman heavy.
You know, it used to be where the actors were like, they took pride in the fact that they're one of a number of people you could count on one hand, or then 2 that, I could say I am Batman. And now it's like you got, 20, 30 actors.
Who isn't Batman?
Right.
Right. Exactly.
It's like Spartacus. Like, I am Spartacus.
You're all Spartacus, Batman? Just from different universes now.
I'm Batmanicus.
Who hasn't been Superman?
To be fair, there's not been a lot of Superman as compared to Batman.
Oh, come on now. Wait a minute.
There's been a few. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's been way more Batman than Superman.
Hmm.
Am I wrong on this?
How far back are we counting?
I don't know. The Big Bang? Like, how far back you want to go?
Well, I mean, there's George Reeves, Christopher Reeve.
Sure, fine. Bob Coiler, you want to get fancy? Like, yeah, there's been. I'm not saying there haven't been a lot.
Brandon Routh.
And Routh was one.
Do we count?
Yeah, count
Smallville. I can't think of his name.
Count Gerard. What's his name too? Not Gerard Jones. That was the pedophile that went to prison.
Gerard Butler.
No, with the guy from Superboy. The Superboy in the 80s.
Yeah. So Superboy, Smallville.
Gerard something. I can't remember his last name.
Henry Cavill and the new guy for the new TV show. Oh, and Lois and Clark. So that's 8 Supermen.
Now let's do Batman.
Okay.
So if you're going to count George Reeves, you got to count the 2 guys that were in the Batman serials.
The original serials, yeah.
There's 2 different guys who did that. You also got Adam West.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't just George Reeves, was it? Didn't George Reeves replace somebody?
Kirk Allen. Can't remember what we talked about last week on the show, but I can remember Kirk Allen played Superman in the 1940s. What was I going to say? So I left off Adam West, and then we had a big break. Michael Keaton. I'm going to count Kevin Conroy because he is Batman.
Oh, well, then you got to count the guy who did the animated series.
Fine, George Hooper. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay, and then we have Christian Bale.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Christian Bale. So we're at 9 right now.
We got the animated The Batman and
so we're at 10 Superman
and
Diedrich Bader, and then whoever did it on like the other Batman show. Then we had someone played him on the Birds of Prey because he did show up for a moment for a quick.
And
we had him Ben Affleck. Then we also had Robert Pattinson. We can include this.
No, he's the same person.
Well, then there's a guy who's playing him on Titans. There's Bruce Wayne on Titans. None of us have watched Titans though. So.
No.
But yeah, it's close.
It's
15.
It's close.
1.5 times. There's a lot.
You counted Keaton twice.
Because he should be counted 6 times. Like when you've taken a 30-year break from the rule, I think he could be counted twice. John, do you disagree? Have we this off the rails completely?
I'm looking behind me and all I'm seeing is train parts all over the place.
Crisis of Infinite Batman.
All right.
Kingdom Come movie. Be very good.
Just rail cars on their sides, people screaming. I mean, it's horrible.
It's like your train of thought. All right. And then finally, we did talk about.
I have a rail for my thought.
We got. You want to rail your own thoughts?
We talked about the WandaVision spinoff. Seems to be about Agatha. At least that's the rumor at the moment.
We're gonna call the show Agatha All Along, right?
Yes, Agatha All Along. And then we asked our audience what they thought about this idea. Random Randy Savage said.
Sorry, I read the actual quote the tweet that Tim actually wrote. Sorry.
She is amazing, and I want to watch her read to me all the Wanda and Vision comics.
I would actually watch that. That would be funny, I think.
Gorilla Brain Podcast said, got to keep those subscriptions rolling in.
That's true. This is accurate.
The Ucho Dorley Parlay Hour said, initial reaction is why, but Han is great, so maybe it'll lead to something else.
I think that's a fair reaction.
And then Timothy Jones.
Sorry, I read this early because it showed up first in the timeline.
I hope they pick up where they left off with Agatha in WandaVision and not a prequel. Sour Grape Comics found in newspapers all across the country.
Stealing my bit, Tim.
Yes.
Stealing my bit.
It's funny because I was actually talking to him online the other day and he went, you don't have to worry about the plug because I already took care of it for this week.
Yeah, you did. Well done.
So yes. Sour grapes, everyone. Sour grapes. All right.
Of which I have none.
I was just shocked that I mean, she's not an unattractive woman, but like so many people are into what's her name? That plays Agatha.
Catherine Hahn?
Yeah, Catherine Hahn.
There's something about a funny woman, right? Like she's not definitely like a traditional Hollywood like look or nothing like that, but she's attractive and she's really funny, and that
she's got an inner light.
Yeah,
she's got something.
Yeah,
she's got that thing that just she's just
a certain I don't know what.
Yeah,
that's a Mike Myers
je ne sais
joke.
quoi.
Yeah, that's a Mike Myers joke I just stole. Yeah, that's I think there is something about her that's, not, I'm sure she's a person that if you saw her in real life, you'd be like, wow, she's really pretty. But like, because it's Hollywood and it just warps your perspective for what a human being should look like.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that, but there's definitely something like if Will Ferrell can be a leading man in Hollywood, like the scales are way off balance.
You think?
Well, I was watching. I was watching the Netflix is that show, The Movies That Made Us, right? And they put out a new season this week, and one of them was Elf. So I'm watching the episode of Elf, and I'm looking, going, how the hell did they put 40-year-old Will Ferrell with like a 22-year-old Zoe Deschanel? That makes absolutely no sense.
Yep.
But it's Hollywood, so we accept it. Mediocrely average Will Ferrell can land Zoe Deschanel in Hollywood.
Well, look at Daniel Craig.
Hey,
they keep putting him with 20-year-old
Craig's
nuclear
good,
fitness.
Whoa. Daniel Craig's a handsome man. Let's not
know,
compare
but
him
it's
to
still
Will Ferrell.
like it's a real May-December thing that they got going.
First off, Hollywood's giving me hope. That's the most important part. I know John has no hope left, but I still do.
Gentlemen, I shall return. Continue on without me momentarily.
Well, while JD runs to the bathroom, and let's take this moment to take a quick break and have our good friend D Squared tell you how you can get more superhero speak and follow us on social media so you can be part of social media madness.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at @stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for #GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
Thank you for that, Don. Don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and where most podcasts are available. And on that note, boys and girls, we'll take our first commercial break and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, and we are back. So, boys and girls, we got some news to talk about. We got a lot of news to talk about from DC fandom, but there's a couple little things that happened around that we'll talk about beforehand. First off, Hollywood strike averted. So, new deal reached on TV and film contracts. So you brought this to my attention, JD. Do you feel this had something to do with the Scarlett Johansson kerfuffle?
I do, actually. Well, not just necessarily, but there was hinted at that there would be strikes, right? If Disney was just going to ignore they were just going to ignore their royalties, right? Or I'm sorry, they're just going to ignore contracts,
right?
So no, they can't, but they were trying to. And like we kind of got a hint that word came down from SAG that they would walk, right? And now we had another thing where the producers were trying to say that, I believe this is was it the Grips Union or something like that? I forget what this is exactly. It is the
IATSE and the AMPTP. I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, you read. I'm not now off the top of my head. I'm not sure.
IATSE and probably a whole bunch of others. There were a couple of them that got together, which is amazing because from what I remember reading, because I've been following this, something like 98% of the ballots for voting on the new contracts were returned, meaning that it's amazing solidarity for a union.
The IATSE is a stagehands union.
But I mean, let's be honest, if they're not honoring the contracts, and again, from my understanding, the way the contract was written, that they ignored Disney, they weren't getting any, the actors and the people involved with the movie weren't getting any extra money from the streaming, and Disney was making more money from the streaming.
And this is also the AMPTP is the producers union. So
right, exactly. So they're gonna they were gonna lose a lot of money
if they would have gone on strike. Everything would have been There would have been no, because you need production companies. Like studios don't make anything, right? And people don't understand that. Studios hire production companies to create content. Right. And without the content creators, because suits don't know anything, right? Suits sell stuff. The suits sell the widgets. But without any widgets to sell, you ain't got nothing, right? So this was a major thing that got averted. And like we talk about this being in a new world as far as streaming platforms go, and monies that need to be divvied out. Monies, not just money, the proper term is monies. They need to be divvied out because of this new world we're living in. And the studios are just trying to bank everything. And now they're learning they cannot. And the entertainment unions are some of the strongest unions in the country. So this was a major thing that they averted. And
it's not just like the money, which is big in and of itself. Off the top of my head, again, from the stuff that I've read, they get actual weekends now. They don't have, like, a lot of these guys are working like 7 days a week, 14-hour days. So they don't even get to time for like a meal during the day. They've had people like fall asleep at the wheel when they're trying to get home. So they're like, they've got breaks now. They're getting their weekends, which, I think the way that, just like everything in America, it just kept evolving in the direction of the small people have to, basically sacrifice while the guys selling and making the money off of it get to reap the rewards. And now we may see a lot more stuff, a lot more shows where they're not 23 episodes, they're 13, because they can't do this grueling schedule anymore, which is the reason why Rose left Batwoman, right? That was one of the reasons that they gave.
Well, that's actually something. It's funny because apparently the reason why she left keeps changing.
Well,
and so people are not sure about that. But I was going to say, it's funny. You bring up a good point. A lot of people don't realize one of the big difference between somebody that works in Hollywood and somebody that works a 9 to 5 is that like 90% of the people, I believe, are like independent contractors, where like you're hired for a job, and then once the job's done, you're out of work again until you get your next job. Where if you have a career, you have a job to go to every day.
Think S Corp or 1099. That's because I did that myself.
But I'm saying, in that kind of situation, it's a lot easier to take advantage of the little guys because you don't have a steady person that you can compare their salaries to.
Well, Uber. I'm sorry, Uber and Lyft. One of the big things was basically treating all of their drivers as independent contractors, so they didn't have to give benefits or anything.
Right.
And there was a big thing about that in California.
Well, California is one of the states that actually does do a good job taking care of independent contractors because of the entertainment industry. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Which is why California has been the hub of entertainment since the 1920s, I want to say. Over 100 years now. Of this is what they do, but at the same time, these things happen. This isn't new. It's going to happen again too. It's because the studios never want to pay the people that actually do the work what they deserve. The studios feel entitled to the vast majority of the money because they feel without their platform, these things would just die by the wayside.
And that's
and it's not accurate, but it's what they have. It's the power structure that's been created to keep people nearly subservient, and things are actually way better in Hollywood than they used to be. Because remember, back in the 40s, like actors were contracted to studios that can only work for a studio, and then SAG made sure that was changed. You don't see that anymore, right? But now, like you were saying, like everything. Because my best friend, my cousin, is in the Directors Guild of America. He's a second assistant director, which means he directs background talent. He makes sure like everything's moving behind, like the unimportant, what you would think of as the unimportant stuff, right?
The things that you don't notice, which you're not supposed to notice, but would if he wasn't there.
Right. So, it would look like a zombie movie or a ghost town if it wasn't. And like I said, he'll work on a show for X number of months or X number of weeks. And then when it's over, he's done. Time to find a new job. And you hope that your word of mouth gets you the next one. or or the guy you're working, or you get a relationship with a first AD that you like, and he brings you along. There's no guarantees.
It's so fascinating looking at the entertainment industry, and the two that I always like to think about, because one I was involved with and one you were involved with in JD. So you've got music and you've got TV/movies, and it's like the internet came along and it was like, hey, look, we can blow away all the gatekeepers, right? And in the music industry, to a point, that has happened. Like
music is always ahead. Music is always the first.
I have, I've got my guitars over there. I've got an amp. I've got this laptop that with software, I can create a band and produce music that's just as good as anything that was recorded in a studio 20 years ago. Right.
And then you can put it on YouTube and have it
and then
flagged for content by Warner Brothers or Warner Studios.
I can put it on,
even though it's your original.
I could put it on, but I'm saying there's 1,000 platforms that I can get my music out on.
Bandcamp and SoundCloud and iTunes.
Yeah.
Right. But with movies, to do a movie, it takes more than one person, right? Like it does take a band, more or less. It takes a group of people to do it. And then once something becomes popular enough, a gatekeeper grabs it up.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, look at the best example. Like one could argue that Star Wars is the most successful independent film of all time because Lucas self-financed those. 20th Century Fox had that logo, but they just had the distribution rights. Lucas made those movies, right? And so now it's Disney owns it, right? Now you got all these places are buying up all these IPs, so these things don't exist. And the movie industry is going to be the last to adapt to it because they're the biggest. And they're the ones that are the hardest to change. Music and publishing is already changing. I talked about this writing conference we did in Nashville a couple weeks ago. I got to be friends with a writer named the writer named J.D. Barker. I'm reading his book, Dracul, right now. It's badass. And he was talking about how he goes, I wouldn't sign unless you're getting an amazing advance. He goes, there's no reason to ever sign with a major publishing house. Because unless the advance is just life-changing money, don't do it because you can do it on your own. And there's still people that think you need to be published by, but it's the truth. And people are asking, why are you an indie publisher? I've never tried to be published with a major house because realistically it doesn't do anything for me. You have to advertise the book yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Right. They don't, if you're not John Grisham alive, I meant James Patterson. If you're not James Patterson, Stephen King, they don't spend money to advertise your work. Right. So why? Unless they think you're something super special, there is no reason. Music, same thing, like you talked about. You can put your stuff on anything. You can put stuff on SoundCloud. You can have opportunities to make money. And you might not become stupid rich, but you can live comfortable. Movies, independent film has always been a strong thing, but there's always been this give and take relationship between the studio system and the independent world. So, and now I imagine we're going to see, I don't know. I don't want to see the end of the studio system in Hollywood because Disney is just too powerful, but it's pretty much just Disney.
I mean, like in the music industry, and I know that it works this way in the movie industry a little bit too, but in the music industry, it's like people think you get signed and then the record company pays for everything. It's like, no, you go to record and they're like, okay, here's the bill for the recording. And you could do one of two things. We can upfront you the money and then you pay us back off of what the album makes. Or, you know what? We'll do it for free, but we'll take a percentage point and a percentage point. And by the time you're done, you're left with 1 percentage point off of your profits off of your album.
Which is why the musicians made their money touring.
Yes, exactly.
Not releasing albums. The album is the commercial to tour.
Right.
But it's a take on the old company store dynamic, right?
Whereas an actor doesn't tour after he makes a movie.
Right. They perform. In publishing, it's the same thing. You get that they get the advance. If your books don't make back that advance, you got to pay it back.
So that's what you have to do. You have to tour and read your books on stage.
Well, that's why people do signings and stuff like that. And that's true. That's why royalties are so important to novelists. Because a lot of them won't even, they won't touch their advance until they know that they've made it back. Or if you're Stephen King, you're fine, right? But I mean, the vast majority of authors aren't. So I mean, and comics is the most archaic. Right? As we're seeing, I've listened to Brian Bendis just rail against Marvel, which is crazy to think about because he was synonymous with them for almost 2 decades, and now he's talking about how since Disney took over, they're just like, here's $5,000 for creating Colossus. Thanks, Chris Claremont. Stuff like that. You're not getting the money you should pretty much deserve, but some big studio exec's going to make sure he gets his sweet ass Ferrari.
Yeah,
of course.
And what did he do? He didn't. I mean, he signed some deals and gets to be a dork playing golf and wear a fucking suit and act like he's something important. Cocksucking piece of shit.
He was smart enough to buy a popular property to make money off of.
But like 20 of them didn't make that deal.
Yeah.
You know?
JD, it's righteous anger that you've got. I mean,
because I'm a creative guy.
Because they're leeches. I mean, they are, you know.
And this is why we need to take back the means of production. Sorry. I went too left on that. I went Guevara. But it is a little, But it is.
Let's move that Overton window a little bit more.
But it hurts people. It hurts creators, you know, and you hear about it every day.
But it's funny too, because like I think people should also take a lesson of what's going on right now, where like like I said in the beginning, the internet came out. Oh, we're going to get rid of the gatekeepers, and you had things like YouTube pop up and whatnot. And then what happens? They become big enough. The media companies exist, jump on here, throw millions and billions of dollars of advertising money at this platform. So now YouTube becomes a new gatekeeper and starts saying who can and can't be on here and stuff like that.
Yes, but a flip side of that coin is there's more opportunity now to be independent and to make money than at any point there's ever been in history. Like I said, you might not be stupid rich, but you can live comfortably, right?
But But like, look at again, you know, perfect example. We've had one of our episodes flagged twice now. Once on YouTube, and now, oh, by the way, if you are listening to us on Facebook, thank you and welcome. We are now available through podcasts streaming on Facebook. Oh. However, it's the second time that our commentary track for got flagged.
What?
Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
But that's like we
now it's transformative.
We have to. It's transformative, but we didn't do the video right. Like the video.
No. It's the audio that's getting flagged.
Oh,
just the audio.
Even so, such fair use bullshit. Like this is
fair use.
It is. Because nobody's going to be able to go through and clean all that up and then take the audio and marry it to the small section of video that we have and say, hey, here's the movie. I mean, it's stupid.
We should do our show live on Facebook if we're doing this on Facebook now. Sorry.
All right. We'll revisit that. But yeah, so anyway, but like again, but because they're throwing a bunch of money at that platform's not going to argue and say, oh no, it's in our defense and say it's fair use. We have to do that. And then, it's
so you guys know I'm a big wrestling fan, right?
Are you?
Well, you might have figured this out.
No.
New Japan Pro Wrestling is the biggest. For a long time, they were the number 2 wrestling company in the world behind WWE. Just recently, they have gotten so flag happy with their DCMA stuff. They are getting people flagged for tweeting GIFs. GIFs. That's not allowed. Photographs. They're flagging for that. And it has absolutely killed their momentum in this country. Like it's TV Asahi. They have gone bonkers with the DCMA strikes. And I get it. There's a lot of piracy on the internet, but there's a fine, like, if you can't manipulate social media and understand that it's also your biggest ad platform, free ad platform,
right? Exactly.
What are we doing here, man?
We're being this a little too much, but I just want to add one little thing. First off, look at Napster. Napster made the recording studios more money than they had ever seen, and their response to that was to kill it because they didn't control it. Not because it made the money, but they didn't control it, and so they killed it anyway.
They killed it and recreated it as iTunes under their own banner.
And then the DMCA, that law is like one of the worst things that ever happened to fair use because it protects only the big corporations. It makes no allowances or have any checks for small creators. It relies on the courts, which lobbyists is a regressive way of handling it. Yeah.
Lobbyists are evil. They're the worst human beings in Washington. There's a lot of bad people in Washington, right? And this is why my first book was about a lobbyist, because they're evil reptiles, and they feed too much negative money into our government. They get stupid laws like this passed, and for some reason, it's legal in this country.
Yep.
Their job is literally to buy votes, but I'm done.
Deep breath. I'm
done. Lobbyists.
I mean, I'm right with you. I'm right with you. Like, you know, I need to kill like some insects now.
First off, okay, cheese is not cheap. Mickey needs his cheese.
Cheese is not cheap, especially with the supply chain issues.
So speaking of the evil mouse,
episode title.
There you
go. Speaking of the evil mouse, Marvel has shifted all of their 2022 movies coming out next year. So let's see. First off,
pandemic related, you think?
Doctor Strange was moved to May from March. Thor: Love and Thunder has been moved to July. What else was moved? And then the Black Panther Wakanda Forever is now going to be in November.
No, it was November. It's into February.
Oh, okay. Yes, it was November 11th. Now it's into February. Yes, sorry. I wasn't reading fast enough.
This is ridiculous.
And Quantumania
23 now.
Is 2023 now.
Does this bother you guys?
Well,
I don't think it bothers me. That's why I'm just curious.
My only problem is I'm getting older, and I'd like to see what happens in Phase 4 or the next big bad before I go.
That makes sense, actually. I had not considered that angle. The
I
mortality part.
I brought this up. I wanted to bring this article. I mean, because they're not huge shifts. It's not like they went back a whole year, and it's an easy thing to say. Well, we're not sure if everything's going to be back to normal by then. Blah blah. But what I'm really wondering if this has something to do with the new contracts and now with the lawsuit. Like,
that's possible.
Did they have to shift their business plan, how they were going to release these movies? And, and A, did they shift their plans? And B, it's like, okay, now we need to position these so they're going to make the most possible money in the box office. Though February for Black Panther doesn't seem like
that's when it was first released, though. The first one came out in February.
That's true.
And it was like, I believe it's still one of the highest earning February movies of all time. I believe it's still true. I think you might be right. And I think that a lot of insiders will say, no, that has nothing to do with it. But the reality is a lot of these things are in NDAs. So
right.
I think I don't know, but I think that's an absolutely reasonable question. Because, but also I think you could also lean into the pandemic, where I think there's a better chance of things maybe recovering back to semblance of normalcy by the spring rather than the winter,
Right.
So it makes sense to me to push everything a little bit. God, I think the Strange movie is going to be like 18 months from when it was supposed to be released.
Now,
right?
Well, they have time to make edits and add some,
they do,
sugar to it for the overarching storyline now.
They will
little
be
tweaks. Yeah.
I also know that Disney has an unwritten rule that they will not release any movies from their studio in the same month.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They don't want to eat their young.
Yeah, anything that comes out under Disney umbrella. And one of the movies I think also coming out next year is the new, because it mentions it in the article too, the new Indiana Jones. Like, they shifted that, and now one of them is falling on one of the DC movie dates. So is that a head-to-head? Yeah,
and I imagine DC and Warner Media will balk because they don't want that. Like, Gremlins and Ghostbusters came out on the same day in 1984. Did you guys know that? Like, yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Didn't matter. Saw both of them, right?
Eventually, 35 years later. But I think Ghostbusters cannibalized everything at the box office. But I think Gremlins still did pretty good. But you don't want that anymore. Like, there's the amount of money spent in these movies.
Right. But also back in 1984, Ghostbusters could spend like an entire year in the theaters.
That's true.
And still be making first run movie the entire, whereas now it's like
3 weeks.
3 weeks. If you don't make the money, pull it, move. Let's make room for the next blockbuster.
Yeah, if a blockbuster isn't well into the profit zone after week 1, it's done.
Yeah.
So I imagine Warner will, and they'd be stupid not to.
I wondered, like, has home video and streaming changed the way we consume movies? It's just like,
I think it has. I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and she's like, I'm never going back to the theater again. She's like, I will pay $30 to have every movie to me right like this. And I said, you're the problem. You're why people are digging their feet in. Because there's a good section of Americans that don't want to go back to the theater, that found they would rather pay more money to have this streamed at home. So I imagine what you're going to see, this is a prediction, I don't know if I'm right, you'll see 3 weeks in the theater, afterwards 4 to 5 weeks exclusive on streaming, then the typical home video release. I think that's what's going to happen.
Keep in mind, you go to the theater these days, right? You get a popcorn and a water, and you're very close to $30.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. She's right. I love going to the movies for like the religious experience.
I do too. Yeah,
but it's ridiculous.
There's some movies I'm definitely going to go see them in the theaters, but for others that are released in streaming at the same time, I would rather have real popcorn with real butter, and a Coke that didn't cost me, $5 for a pint. I mean,
I need a fraction by 401(3).
Yeah.
Though I agree with everything you guys are saying, what I was getting at is in 1984, it wasn't convenient to watch stuff at home.
No, it is now.
Right, exactly. So it has changed. That's why it's changed much.
If you look back in 1984, like people freaked out about home video in general, right?
Yeah.
Because
that was another one of those things where the studio, the big guys were trying to kill something that was actually helping them.
They didn't understand what it was going to do. They thought it was going to cannibalize the box office. And what they realized is they could actually make money hand over fist now by controlling the release schedule and finding that a lot of movies that died a slow death, because it used to be like if a movie died at the box office, you never saw it again. It was gone. This idea we have now where we have all these old movies that are available at our fingertips is insanity, right? And even
the idea of a cult classic.
Yeah, there was no such thing because you would never get a chance to see it unless it wound up on Schlock TV for cheap.
Or if it was so bad that people were passing it around behind them, with VHS or beta, But
that was VHS or beta. Disc. But they created that. That didn't exist. That didn't exist until the 1980s. Like now you could create. Now you had a whole new thing of direct video, we just released this right to VHS. Why bother losing money at the theater? We'll put this right on VHS. It's a small shitty movie. We'll make a tiny profit. We'll be fine, right? And it took them a good 5-6 years to really figure, maybe even long, maybe even a decade, to really figure out how to harness that. And we're still in this infant stage right now with streaming. And like with VHS sucked, right? So if you're going to wait for VHS, you didn't care about the quality of, the presentation. Now, if you got a nice TV, right, with some good speakers in your house, there ain't a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, right? Like, it's nothing to have a 40, 50-inch screen
60, 70,
at 4K. At 4K.
Which is better. Yeah, you're talking about theater quality picture and sound to sit at your house. I mean, and I get it. I mean, going to the theater is expensive and you got to leave. And it's like, wouldn't you rather sit at home and watch it? And there's, like I said, there's guys like, I think Dave and I, and even you, I think we like going to the movies. There's a experience of going to the movies. Not everybody feels that way.
Especially the geek movies. There's a certain camaraderie that you get from those kinds of movies.
And that's why the geek movies have been killing.
Yeah.
Because we're the guys that go.
Yeah.
Right. Like all the people that used to go see the romantic comedies and the star vehicles, they're more than happy to watch that stuff at home.
That's
but we'll go and dress up. And
we're stupid.
That's the whole thing. And it's like, and it's funny when Spielberg makes a comment of those movies are going to die the way of the Western, and then people are complaining well, why don't romantic comedies do what they used to? Because
nobody's going to dress up as Sandra Bullock from Love Potion #9.
Because exactly.
That's a great deep cut, John. That's a great deep cut.
The geeks and the nerds are the ones that are passionate about things and want to go see it on the big screen.
The geeks and the nerds are propping up the film industry, the theater, not the film industry, the
theater industry. Yes.
Right. We're the ones that because we're the ones that care about the Dolby sound. We're the ones that care about the IMAX image. If you go to see Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey, I lost the analogy. Do some stupid romance and comedy stuff. Again, I have no problem with romantic comedies. It's just not for me. You don't need all the bells and whistles of going to the theater for that. That's why. And I think the cinephiles, the problem with talking to the cinephiles, the Spielbergs, the Scorseses, is for them, cinema is a legitimate religious experience, and they think that everybody thinks that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and
their
but we don't.
perspectives are shifted.
Yeah.
The ones who
And-
think like them are the people they hate. They've become who they hate. They've become us.
and also like the people that go to see romantic movies, they are more likely to go see it at home because I can have a bottle of wine while I'm watching.
100% right.
Yeah,
there's no difference in the experience of seeing a Jennifer Lopez movie, showing my age, at the theater than there is seeing at home. There's no difference.
except you can have your glass of wine, your Chardonnay.
Yeah,
while
you can have.
watching it.
You're more comfortable. You're sitting on your couch. You know, it's like reading. It's like I said romance writers are the killers. They are, man, because their readers, they knock those things out, they churn them out, and they're sitting in their comfort of their house. They got their Kindle, their glass of wine, and they're just relaxing.
Yep.
Right? They aren't us. They aren't lining up. You know, dude, you know what my wife said today? My wife said, I need you when the new Outlander book, she's got it on pre-order. When it comes here, I need you to take Andy for the weekend and go somewhere. I need the weekend.
Yeah.
From home. She ain't gonna stand in line at Amazon, or I'm sorry, that's not a place. Stand in line at Barnes and Noble to go buy that book.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But she's more than happy to have it delivered to her house and she can read it in a weekend. Like these are the fundamental shifts in the business that really fascinate me from a week to week basis, because we don't know what's going to happen. Dave dropped something.
Right.
I dropped Electra.
And the ball.
You and Frank Miller. Oh.
We're 2 in out of like eight topics here, and it's already like we're already an hour and 40.
But these are, I mean, like this is actually a big news week.
Hour and 50. Yeah, I know. True.
Yes, it's romance nerd theater. All right.
I like the cheese title better.
So let's keep the peace here.
No. So
I tried.
Right,
I'm horrible at those. Damn it.
No, I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
So okay. So to keep the peace, we'll move on. This weekend we had DC Fandom 2021 came out, and boy, did they drop a lot of trailers.
They did.
DC Con.
DC is
almost felt good about
finally
them again.
making the movies they've been promising for decades.
Mm-hmm. I almost felt good about it again, being a DC guy.
So we start off with we talked about this show already. They gave us a little bit of a teaser, but this time they gave us a nice trailer, and I gotta say I'm a little shocked. They made me feel a little sympathetic in this trailer
for the Peacemaker. Yeah,
towards Peacemaker. Yes. So yeah, we got John Cena as Peacemaker. Looks like they're going almost feels like they're going that tired formula. There's the guy in the chair.
I think they're doing it on purpose, though. I think it's a send up of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Look at his costume. Of course, it's going to be a send up. I mean,
like I think they're steering into all those tropes on purpose, because it's like a deconstruction, right? It's almost like this show feels more like Deadpool than anything else.
So that's my other question. Okay, so that's my question. I watched the trailer. I'm not a DC guy. Who's the vigilante in the blue and black costume?
Oh man, Adrian Chase, the 1980s vigilante. He's a very serious character that I'm very curious to see what they do with him. One of his most famous things was Alan Moore had a brief run on him. I forget who wrote him, but he was the first comic book hero to die via suicide.
Okay.
That's kind of serious to bring into this. Wow.
Hugely serious. And it might not be the Adrian Chase version of the character, but they're using that outfit, the most recognizable.
Because you know what? I was getting a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool vibe.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And I'm like they're doing that on purpose.
Yes. This whole thing is a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool vibe, which is good. DC didn't really have that before. So I'm cool with it. I think this looks great. And I love John Cena. So
it'll be interesting.
He drives with a bald eagle. Like he's hanging out with a bald eagle.
The eagle hugging him.
It's great.
Oh my God, Dad! Get the camera.
Is that the same one that tried to take a bite out of Trump? I mean, it's like, but eagles are hard to like.
It's a computer generated.
It's called computer animation, John.
Oh,
it wasn't real. Yeah,
that's sorry.
I think this looks fantastic.
That'd be good for practical effects.
And then what was the other thing I wanted to say about this trailer? I loved how it picked up right at the hospital. I loved the interaction with the janitor.
Yeah, who are you? Who Peacemaker? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, there's no hero named Peacemaker.
weren't they on like national television when they fought Starro? I thought. I thought maybe that
Nobody
would
didn't
picked up.
know. Nobody knows who Peacemaker is.
Yeah.
The whole point of the Suicide Squad is they're invisible.
That is true. And
They disappeared.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's because they're all a lot of them are 6 feet under now. But
That's
So-
also true.
So yeah, no, it looks good. I can't wait. I think John Cena is going to kill this.
he's going to make or break it. It's all on him.
It is.
really
Yeah.
is.
If as long as he delivers like he did in the movie, I think it's all good.
It's the role
Jennifer
of a
Holland will
lifetime
be
for
good
him.
too. Jennifer Holland's in this, and she could help out too.
It's amazing what James Gunn can write when he's bored.
Mm.
People love working for him, and he's amazing at playing to strengths and getting ridiculous stuff out of his actors that plays well, believable and silly and fun and serious all at the same time.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait. Like this one, I really can't wait for. And I always think, am I going to get rid of HBO? And it's like, now I got to keep it for this. So
I'm gonna pause on HBO after Dune, but yeah, it looks good.
We kind of did call it though, like HBO and Disney. Like, I mean, HBO Max. They started off kind of rough, but they've been
playing catch up.
Yeah, they've been doing very good at that. And
they're no longer playing mustard.
Yeah, I don't think I can't tell you the last time I went to Amazon Prime for any video because their interface, their site for Amazon Prime Video still sucks. Can't figure out how to find anything. And Netflix is still putting out new content. So we still got only 3.
Netflix is putting out new content, but we never covered Squid Game. That did very well. Yeah, Netflix. I would have said Netflix has had a down year, but they finished strong.
Yeah, they put out Squid Game and what they killed with that.
Pardon the pun.
I see people talk about it. I have no interest in it.
My kids love it. The kids I coach, they love Squid Game, which I think is kind of cool. They're all watching a South Korean show.
I was going to say, I don't think your kid is old enough for it.
Oh no, my kid isn't.
I am used to subtitles, so that has no effect on me whatsoever because the anime. But like, it's not my type of thing, and yet it is oddly interesting to me. I'm halfway through it, and like I would have thought after the first episode I would have turned it off, and I'm still watching it. It's just the acting is really good in this, So yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I can't count. All I know is it's become a cultural phenomenon.
Speaking of good acting, that's oddly interesting. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as villains.
Oh, I will watch Helen Mirren in anything.
Helen Mirren is the sexiest octogenarian I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh my God. Did you if you ever saw Red 2, holy moly.
So we got our first official look at Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods. Yeah, it's weird. Like you see the only kid I can remember seeing in the preview is the kid who was had the crutch, the leg issue in the first. Yeah. And it's like, it's weird seeing him, like he looks like an adult now, or almost like an old teenager. I know. And it's just like
4 years is a lot for a kid.
I know. And it's like, is that going to hurt? That's what was
maybe
making me think, like, is that going to hurt this movie?
Well, Grace Fulton is playing herself as her super self now. Like,
exactly.
I don't think she was in the first movie. So
no, she wasn't, obviously. And it's just like, yeah, because it gets weird. It's like, yeah. Like
this looks fun.
This kid who played Billy Batson eventually just take over the role of Shazam.
Good. I mean, it's supposed to be him. It's supposed to be Captain Marvel. Shazam is supposed to be what Billy will look like when he gets older. So I could see that, depending on how long this series of movies goes for. That said, this movie looks. I mean, like it's not a real trailer. It's just like snippets of a trailer.
Yeah,
it looks fun. Like it looks like it's going to be in the same spirit as the first one.
Definitely. I don't know. I Helen Mirren is such a great actress, but it's just having her play a role like this just seems weird at her age, but
it doesn't match. Like she'll pull it off. Mm-hmm. She is. I'm like very few actors do I like give wholehearted accolades to, but that woman can do anything. And
let me turn your heads back to the year of 1981 in a little film called Excalibur. She's Morgan Le Fay in Excalibur.
This is true.
Looking phenomenal. Sorry,
but that was also
young JD had complicated feelings watching that movie on VHS with his parents.
That was what, 40 years ago?
40 years ago. But I mean, like, but she's got the chops to pull it off, and she still looks like she's a freak with just how well she's aged, right?
And she's got this gravitas. Like,
She does
you
have
talk about gravitas, she's one of those people that has it.
I'm not taking any of that away from her.
She's playing Hera, right? She's playing Hera.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's perfect.
She's one of my favorite actresses. It's just weird to see older people in these roles running around and jumping and
she's not going to be running around. They're going to be like, they're going to make that work.
It's
no worse than Christopher Lee as Saruman.
Yeah. And it's also one of the things like
way less
pointed
sexy
out,
though.
Yeah.
It's one of the things people pointed out. One of the issues people pointed out with Captain Marvel was when they de-aged Sam Jackson and he was still doing the running and stuff, just de-aged, and like you can tell he's a 70-year-old guy trying to run down a hallway, like just computer put his face on a young body running down the hallway.
That's all you got to do, man. I mean, that's the world we live in right now. It's smoke and mirrors. It's no different.
We've talked, I mean, again, we've talked about this before, but like years ago where we will get to, I mean, you've got deep fakes now and all that. You're going to get to the point where, you know, we'll be able to computer generate anybody's voice. And at that point, with the CGI that good, you can have a live action show.
Speaking
CGI
of
characters with anybody who's ever been an actor.
We are to the point where people are selling their voices for AI. And there's a whole market that's not quite there yet, but we're not too far from an AI audiobook market where you
I really didn't need Sam Jackson on my Echo yelling at me.
But that's the thing is you can have Sam, like I could have Sam Jackson doing the audio for the Book of Jericho. I just got to pay his royalty rate and it'll just do it in the perform. I don't know. We're a ways from the performance aspect, but it's close, man. You're not wrong. It's close.
Yeah. Okay. Quick aside, because speaking of this stuff and the deep fake, I wanted to mention this. Jamie Costa. You guys familiar with him?
Jamie. Oh, that was the Robin Williams thing. What a performance.
So he is so he's an impersonator. That's what he does for a living. And every year he puts a video out at Christmas time where he like does a little speech about Christmas. And while he's doing the speech, he does different voices throughout. So, you know, the typical Schwarzenegger, De Niro, Robin Williams, you know, all the Nicholson, all the people that are always imitated. But ever since the deep fake technology came out, while he's doing it, his face morphs into the people.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah, you have to, it's on his channel. You got to look them up.
I will. That's cool.
They're really cool, but he is so good. And it was just like, but obviously like one of his favorites to do is Robin Williams. And then he produced this short called Robin, hoping to just do like Deadpool, get it shopped around. Same thing, get it shopped around, and then hopefully someone picks it up and he can make a buy-up about it.
It was pretty damn impressive. And like he not only because like Rich Little did impressions too, right?
Yeah.
But he never showed the gravitas as an actor. Like I was really impressed. Like even if the impression wasn't as spot on, his performance in that I thought was really, really
Robin Williams is one of those that is really, really hard to do an impression
because he's so up and down. Yeah.
He had the amount of energy that man had a nuclear reactor in his body. And the range of emotion that he constantly put out in waves. It's just.
And if you watch that clip and you're not tearing up by the end of it, well, you're first off an emotional robot, but yeah, I mean, just amazing. And I really hope he gets this movie made because that would be amazing.
It's clearly a passion project for him.
Yeah.
And I hope that because again, the performance was great. He looked enough like Robin Williams where I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I can do this. I want to go back and check out more of his stuff because I was super impressed. And I do hope something, because again, it's Robin. If we watched, it's Robin Williams in the Mork and Mindy trailer finding out that John Belushi died.
Yes.
Right. Which again, if you're from the 80s, that really has resonance. If you're not, continue on. But
it also makes you wonder, like, how much was that based on stuff that Robin Williams revealed afterwards, and how much was that artistic license? Yeah. It's just amazing. All right. Sorry, tangent. You know, there's train wreckage behind John again. All right.
Oh boy.
Moving on, Shazam. This should have led into the other teaser that we got. Finally got to see some of this movie. Like I can't believe it. I didn't think this movie was ever actually going to be made, and The Rock standing there looking badass, shooting lightning. It looks pretty cool, but that's all we got. Basically, him killing people.
We got more. It's like Dwayne Johnson came to me and cracked open my brain and said, "JD, what would you like to see in this movie?" And this was pretty much it. Like the little snippets we got with Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Yeah, that was
like I love the choice for Hawkman, excuse me. Yeah, and the look of Kondak. I love Black Adam. Like I've been saying for years that there's such cool stuff that could be done with the Black Adam character. This is my most anticipated DC movie.
Really?
Yeah. I love Black Adam. Like I do. Like the Jeff Johns run on JSA that redefined Black Adam in the 21st century is one of the best. It's probably some of his best work in comics. So good. He's so complicated.
Yeah, and wasn't Black Adam announced when Man of Steel was announced?
I want to say Black Adam was announced when Superman Returns was announced, but I'm not 100% sure. I think Dwayne Johnson's been attached to this for well over a decade.
Okay, I thought that's what I meant. I thought The Rock got attached right around the time Man of Steel was announced.
Yeah, I want to say even long. I want to say maybe 2007, 2008. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's been that long.
Don, let us know.
I don't know this. We're out of Don's wheelhouse. This one's all JD, and I don't even have the answer to
it. So, what did you think, John? What did you think of the trailer for Black Adam?
I'm with JD. Like this and the Shazam movies. These are these two are the ones that I'm interested in the most.
You know what gets me excited about that, John, is the fact that they're the same but different. Like
yes,
and it feels like two sides. The cliche of two sides of the same coin. This feels like it because he looks like one of them, right? Because he is, but the movies feel totally different. That excites me.
And the fact that that once these are done, the next is to put them together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and that's the thing. Like I have confidence that these two movies are going to be good. I have no confidence in the ones after we talk after about.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you think?
So
that sounds like a big if.
You don't have the emotional attachment, so that's why I'm curious. Because
I don't have the emotional attachment. And again, this has been talked about for so long. It's so hyped. I'm trying to tamper my expectations.
The Rock is the number one movie star in the world, so it gonna make money.
I like The Rock, but I also don't think he's the greatest actor in the world.
Of course not. I didn't say he was the greatest actor in the world. I said he was the biggest box office draw.
He's this generation's Arnold.
He might be perfect for this role, though.
I think that's fair. And Arnold has some good performances. Arnold was who else would, as we've learned, no one else could have been Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah,
Arnold was great in Twins. Arnold was great in Terminator. Arnold was good at being Arnold.
Yeah. Right.
Predator.
Predator. But that's what I'm getting at. My fear is The Rock. My fear is that I'm not going to get Black Adam. I'm going to get The Rock dressed as Black Adam.
Yeah, you're probably going to get The Rock dressed as Black Adam, but I want to see what he does with this because he's doing all the right stuff. Black Adam is an anti-hero. He's not a hero. I'm very excited because it seems like they're steering into that too, right? And it looks like it's going to be the Kondak story because that's the Black Rain, the JSA Black Rain story is very much an Iraq parable because it's 2003-ish, where he goes back to Kondak to take it over again, right? To save it from this war and winds up becoming a desperate leader. Such a good story. And it seems like that's where we're going. I'm not sure, but that's my vibe.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, I'm going to see it. I mean, we'll talk about it on this podcast, but I'm trying not to be too overly hyped for it. We'll see.
How about Naomi? What do we think of Naomi?
Oh, did we skip Naomi?
No, Naomi's next on the list. That's why
the next one. But, but right now, the video, the teaser in YouTube, the likes, there are more dislikes than there are likes.
For Naomi?
Yep. It's 2.
You're right.
2.8,
2.7.
Yeah.
It's a Bendis created character
that doesn't have a lot of accrued fan interest. I honestly have never read Naomi.
So that's
I didn't
my
even know
thing
about it until now.
It's a newer character.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a following, so they're taking a big chance on this. In my opinion,
this deserves 2.8 thumbs down.
Yeah. But the teaser should have showed something. And
but that's the whole thing.
That's
the whole thing.
Passing
the
out.
teaser doesn't.
it would
true.
only get fans excited, the ones that know
the
that's
character.
what it's-
Right.
Yeah, you're right. This should have been an introduction to who she is. Yeah.
So as I was saying to John earlier, I got this impression of it being like that show Powerless at first. Because I don't know who Naomi was.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, is this a show about like regular people living in the world of Superman and Batman and what, like they're trying that aspect again? And then I looked it up and it's like, oh no, she is a hero. She's a newer hero that Bendis created. And it's like, wait, you guys can't get Superman right. Why are you bringing in new characters?
Well, because they do. It seems like they actually do better with the lesser known characters, right? We all love Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's true.
We raved about
the Suicide Squad.
You're right. The Suicide. We raved about Peacemaker, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is what I don't know. I do agree. This, you know what? In retrospect, you're right. This trailer did not do a good enough job educating people as to what this was.
You need to give them a little something.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't just leave them with a little girl lying on the ground. It's like
you can do that and then end with a flash of her, being
Doing
triumphant in her costume. Yeah.
Like give her eyes a sparkle at least. Like let me know kind of what's going on. Because they really didn't. There's a girl who was like a close-up shot and she passes out. Why? Yeah, this was strike. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't deserve that many like thumbs down, but
that's the one thing. Part of me is like, my mind went to a dark place with that, and I don't think I'm wrong with that. But the trailer did not do a good enough job.
They should have had Snyder do the trailer.
It's one thing he's good at.
Yeah.
So I will say maybe she fits somewhere in the DC multiverse because my God, the next trailer said, "Yeah, we're going hard multiverse. Get ready."
I don't know about this.
We have
really.
We got our first look at Flashpoint, which gives us A, the return of Michael Keaton as Batman, B, the return of Ben Affleck as Batman. It gives us C, the return of Ezra Miller as Flash, and D, the return of Ezra Miller as Flash. Wait, what the hell's going on here?
Some people think that he might also be playing Reverse Flash. That one of those characters is actually Reverse Flash, but
it's possible because that is the Flashpoint story.
Yeah,
I can see that.
But
is the Ben Affleck?
Eobard at one point made himself look like Barry Allen.
The Return of Barry Allen by Mark Waid and Mike Wing.
Well, there's two Barry Allens in the definitely in the Batcave in that scene. Like
and a Supergirl.
And they're both in Flash costumes, and it's like okay, different costumes.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and Supergirl's in the costume in there as well.
I forgot that's supposed to be Supergirl.
Yeah, because you don't see the full costume. Like you don't even see the S.
Is Ben Affleck in this trailer?
He's not in the trailer, but his cowl is on the ground.
Is it? Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yep. Okay. And Ben Affleck has confirmed he's in the movie. I don't know how much he's in it.
So many Batmans. How about that last shower? They're clearly going to reveal the best looking Batmobile of all time.
Yeah, true.
That's been under a tarp for 30 some years. Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Wow.
I just don't trust them to like the CW did the Crisis on Infinite Earths very well and got way more buy-in than this movie's gonna get.
This isn't the Crisis though.
But I know, but the thing is like
I'm with John. The vibe I'm getting from this isn't just Flashpoint. The vibe I'm getting from this trailer is, hey, guess what? We're kind of doing Crisis meets Flashpoint.
Yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong about that.
The thing is, they're once again shoehorning as much as they can into a single movie instead of building up.
We don't know that. We don't know what they're shoehorning. A lot of this stuff is assumptions.
Yeah, right? True. But
I mean, all we know for sure, because what is the story of Flashpoint, right? Barry Allen goes back in time to stop himself from killing stop his mother from dying. Excuse me.
Yep.
And then
stop himself from killing his mother.
That was the second time he went back. Is to stop.
That's the wrong story. And then he comes back to the future, and the world's been changed.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like Back to the Future. And then in the process, he works with older Batman. And now it's Thomas Wayne. This is clearly going to be a multiversal Batman. So on the surface, it looks kind of the same, but instead of time, they're going to play with multiverse.
Did you listen to the Michael Keaton Batman voiceover?
I did.
And he is like, you can travel to any point in time, to any timeline, to any universe. Like he implies not only is he jumping in time, he's jumping across the multiverse.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
So
he is in fact doing that.
I mean, look, I think Flash probably is my favorite DC character, or at least, maybe my second favorite. And it's like, and when he's done right, it's amazing. But like, I don't know.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be suspect, especially what we saw from Justice League movies.
My astute son made a very interesting point about this. What version of the Flash are we getting? Are we getting the Whedon Justice League Flash? Or are we getting the Snyder Justice League Flash?
I guess those are two universes, right?
And here's why he brought it up. And I'm like, oh, you're right. In the Whedon version, he couldn't mess with time.
My guess would be my thought would be the Snyder version, because that's the one we've seen last.
Exactly. But the Snyder one, he messed with time. Yeah. And then he actually went back and he saves the day by going back in time. Mm-hmm. So
I think I think that Warner's plan is to forget they ever hired Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
that's what Flashpoint's about. He's going to go back in time to make sure that Joss Whedon is hired.
He's gonna pull a Deadpool, right?
Yes, that is what Flashpoint is doing. We have to make sure we never hire Joss Whedon and make things worse.
I'm still surprised that like Ezra Miller is part of this. Considering
me too,
but
he has successfully survived a canceling, and he probably shouldn't have. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Did you watch him introduce this on DC Fandom? It was so weird. Oh my God.
He's weird.
He's a weird dude. He's like Crispin Glover with less personality.
Yeah. And look, I don't know, but when I watched it, and I have friends who are, I kind of thought he's on the spectrum.
Possible.
And it made me and it's also making me wonder, is that why he's getting away with it? And no one wants to talk about him having autism. But
I've always gotten the idea that he kind of played Barry Allen like a Sheldon Cooper. So my interpretation is he plays Barry Allen as if he has Asperger's.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't mean to be insensitive when I say that, but that's just always the way I kind of read his performance.
My son-in-law's brother is autistic, and he will have violent mood swings and stuff. So, I mean, it's part of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible.
So. Yeah.
Speaking of violent mood swings,
but my final point on Ezra Miller is if that is what it is, then he should come out and tell people. And I think
I don't. This is a sticky situation. One that he's chosen not to do anything with, and it's amazing all the problem that Warner's had with like abuse and like.
Oh yeah.
How ugly it's been with the Fisher situation. How Ezra Miller is just kind of skated on by and not have to say anything. It's weird, man. It's real weird.
He just went by real fast doing that weird skating run thing.
It's almost like he went back in time and changed something, and only we remember. I shouldn't make jokes about something that's weird.
Yes, and he met another Batman, and now we're getting another Batman with violent mood swings.
So many Batman.
Okay, all right.
Nah, man. No.
Okay.
John's a big no on this one. I can see this already.
Why are we getting emo Bruce Wayne?
Why is he emo? What does that mean? That is a 2007 term. Why are we calling him emo? Because he has long hair?
Because he's extra hard on the brooding.
And that's Bruce Wayne.
Not like this.
He should be, but like, well, here's the problem though.
The line, "I don't care what happens to me," that was like, to me, like, oh my God, it's emo Bruce Wayne. Like right there, I was like,
that's Batman.
Yeah, early Batman, yes. I would say year 2, which is supposed to be kind of like year 2 Batman.
It might be Batman, but I think Bruce Timm handled the balance between brooding and superhero really well. Like he still was like that guy in the room that was always the brought the room down. But this just seems to be like none of the personality, none of that, just guy trying to commit suicide. And the movie feels like it's trying too hard. Like Batman Begins, right? That was the first one with, right. That one, I never, like when I saw the trailers for that and then the movie, I never felt like, wow, this is really trying too hard, or this is just overacted and all that. This one,
did you see the third one?
Yeah, I know. No, the third one, I understand, but I'm compared to Batman Begins, right? Fair. And that one I never crossed my mind. It was just, this is cool. Like, he's dark, he's brooding, but he's driven. This one just feels like he's just brooding, and it feels like it's trying too hard to be dark. It's like he's like the Lego Batman going darkness.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't want to go that far. I feel like this is a much angrier Bruce Wayne Batman than we've gotten before. Like, I feel like that's what they're going for. This is the impression I got from this trailer is and I don't mean story. This is what the story is going to be. This is a Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale prestige novel. This is not Batman in continuity. This is like, let's just do like a really good standalone Batman story and put it out there. And let's take the character in a slightly different direction. Let's make him like really angry, not caring about himself, and see how it works. One of the things I found interesting is most of the shots in the trailer, he's in costume, which I'm kind of curious how they're going to do the Batman Bruce Wayne balance in this.
Well, here's the deep dark secret of DC Comics in general: is there is no Batman Bruce Wayne balance in the comics, and I think it makes the comics suffer. It's because it's all about the guy in the mask. It's very, very rarely about the guy out of the mask, and I think that hurts Batman. And I think that there's not there, other than when Denny O'Neil and Marshall Rogers were working on, and Steve Engler, were working on the character in the late 70s and 80s. I don't think we've had enough of that. And I think I've heard Joe Quesada say that, and I think he's 100% correct, is that DC focuses so much on the bat and not enough on the man. And that being said, when you're marketing, because what's a trailer to do? It's a market, right? I think the way to market the story is to have a lot of the costume and less of the guy playing the costume.
Well, they also focus more on the beating up and the swinging from room to room, and not the detective part, right?
But this is but that's a trailer. This is supposed to be the one Batman movie where he actually is being a detective. But again, you don't really get to see that, because again, in the trailer, the point of the trailer is to get people excited. You get people excited with violence, right? Yeah. This is marketing. Well, that's a marketing thing.
Well, I'll say, like, I think Christopher Nolan tried to do that in his Batman movies. Do the balance between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and
he lost it too, though. Like in Dark Knight, in Batman Begins and Dark Knight, he's on the right path, but by Dark Knight
Rises,
it was he had lost the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody does. Everybody falls in love with Batman, and not enough people talk about Bruce.
And that's part of what I'm wondering too. Is that going to be this movie? Are we going to lose that? That's why I asked the question. Like,
I think it's a fair question to ask. I think also, what is the big criticism of this movie before it come out? What is the one thing everybody's harping on?
The voice,
Robert Pattinson.
Sparkling. The sparkling, right?
Robert Pattinson. People are very anti Robert Pattinson. So don't you want to load up that's been the discourse online. Not saying us in particular, us at all. No, we've been fine with it. But a lot of discourses. I don't want Twilight Batman. I don't want that guy as Batman. So I think it'd be smart to load up the trailer, again, marketing, with Batman, showing that he's whooping people's asses. Batman. Yeah, that's not necessarily a look into what the actual film is going to be, though.
Tifobot from Fans of Patrol on their episode this week,
because we're getting a super chat.
They recorded like while DC fandom was going on, because they release on Sundays. But apparently they did a teaser to the teaser trailer kind of thing, and they were complaining about that, because I do think that's stupid. Like, but she made an awesome point. Her problem with the castings of Batman is everyone is like so angry when a new Batman gets cast. Mm-hmm. It's like, I can't believe this person cannot replace whoever the previous Batman was.
You're right.
And then as soon as the movie comes out, everyone loves the new Batman. And then once they start talking about casting another one, it's like, I can't believe this guy's going to replace Robert Pattinson.
Michael Keaton was the gold standard on that. Like,
people hated him.
Yeah.
When the announcement happened, people
Mr.
Comedian, yeah, exactly.
Look, that's a great example. Look back at that trailer, the first 1989 Batman trailer. Whole lot of Batman, not a lot of Michael Keaton.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
because again, you want to lead with marketing purposes, lead with Batman. The problem is we fall too in love with the mask.
Right, but it's not just that. It's like the whole trailer
So-
just seems to be dripping like, look at me, I'm dark.
I
looking."
can't argue that it's very dark. This will definitely be the darkest Batman story. I'm more concerned with the Riddler as Zodiac.
Yes, that's what. Like, are they why bring the Riddler in to make him dark?
Because the Riddler is a character you have some flexibility.
Yeah, I know.
Because he can be Zodiac. The Riddler can very easily. They don't, but the Riddler. Like, when's the last time we saw like a really like they tried it with Zero Year? That wasn't a great.
Yeah, they haven't done well by Riddler. He's got so much potential.
He does, and but there's so many vastly different interpretations of Riddler because like what we think of as Frank Gorshin, right? Jim Carrey's Riddler was just Frank Gorshin.
Yeah.
So this, I forget who's playing him, but this gives us a chance to do something different with Riddler. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's definitely Riddler as Zodiac. And the Riddler, because what's the problem with Riddler is he oftentimes becomes a knockoff Joker. By doing this, you get away from any relation to the Joker, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to work or not. It's ballsy, right? It's ballsy, but it's intriguing. I don't know, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
But
I did like I liked the scene at the end of the trailer with the penguin, the car chase with the penguin, and he sets off a bomb and it goes off on the Batmobile and he's like, I got you. And then you saw the Batmobile fly out of the fly.
Great.
Yeah.
Dude, that's Colin Farrell. I forgot Colin Farrell's playing the penguin and that whoever did the makeup's getting an Oscar. Give the man the Oscar
because Colin Farrell is instantly recognizable and that was not
completely unrecognizable. I totally forgot he was playing it. But like kudos to everyone involved on that. I remember thinking Colin Farrell was Oswald Cobblepot. What are we doing? Oh, I was way off. Great job.
So do you think this is gonna
also Zoe Kravitz is Selena Kyle?
What
I see so far in that.
Well,
is this gonna be a at first I'm like, is this gonna try to do like the Nolanverse and a more grounded
I think so
on it? But then I'm like, I don't know. And like the one of the scene that bothered me in the trailer was the machine gun scene. Like
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Like he's not Superman, and they don't. There's nothing that's that bulletproof.
That's the one thing they keep getting wrong with Batman. He doesn't go in and start fighting people. He takes you out from the shadows.
Not lately. Have you like?
I know that's the problem.
But that's been Batman for the last. That's Batgod, right? That's been Batman
exactly
for the last 30 years.
And the other thing is, too, like, okay, even if you're wearing something that's super bulletproof and a machine, thousands of machine gun shots won't go through it, there's still the force of those shots hitting you that's going to knock you back, knock the wind out of you.
Unless you've got some kind of like magic technology that can nullify kinetic energy, that's not you're going to like. Yeah.
Guys,
so
we're talking about a movie about a man who dresses up like a bat and fights crime.
No, but I'm sorry. You can do that if it's Superman. You could do that if it's Wonder Woman. It's Batman. It just like he's not Batgod. I hate Batgod. That's the problem.
I get it, but that's what Batman is, right? We don't have the down to earth. Like the closest down to earth Batman we've had is like not Grant Morrison's, is Christopher Nolan's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's barely, I mean, like they'll come up with some reason. They'll like it displaces kinetic energy. They'll do some scientific mumbo jumbo, but I mean the whole thing is based on that. Like it's fiction, right? I don't have an issue with that. With like, I mean, if it's not realistic enough, it like takes the whole, like for me, it's like, okay, realistically, a upset billionaire doesn't dress up like a bat and fight people.
But what I'm saying is like,
there's also not gangs dressed with clown makeup. That is also not a thing, unless you're in the Warriors.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like, I want to see that I want to see that scene in a Superman movie. I don't want. There's other interesting things you can do with Batman than give me a scene that should be in a Superman or Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, he's supposed to like case the joint, make a plan, and then take you out.
Like, you don't know he's not. It's a trailer. It's a clip.
Is it one of the arguments for why the different Marvel movies works is that they do something, even though they're all formulaic and they're all superhero movies, they do treat them differently. Like all the heroes are different. If you start treating,
I think they tell you that. I don't think they actually are.
This is true.
Like, I think that's one of those things that people say and like becomes accepted because they all are the same movie, right?
Marvel, they get treated differently. DC, they're all gods of their respective,
but that's what they are.
Yeah,
right? They're the gods of Olympus, as opposed to, Marvel that tries to play it a little bit more like real people
I don't know.
with problems.
I think they would do well if they made Batman the man among the gods, but no, they were making him.
But they kind of did in Justice League, right? They did do that. But I mean, that's the whole thing is Batman always has a plan. So you got to have a plan when people open up the machine gun on you, or else you're dead.
True.
Because doesn't that make sense? Like, isn't that the question? Is why do these people fight Batman hand in hand? Why don't they just shoot him? So for me, that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see that scene, right? Because that is the logical way to beat Batman. You just mow his ass down.
Yeah, and why? Or lob just have him show up, lead him to the middle of an area, and then just lob a bunch of grenades at him. I mean,
you could, yeah, like that's saying. So I think that you need to have a Batman that is ready for that kind of stuff, or else like then it becomes, because if we start going like, well, what is believable for Batman, then it becomes a slippery slope. Is why don't we drop a nuclear warhead on him? And that's the final answer. And
why when an entire group goes after him, why do they always go one after?
Why is it always one after the other?
Yeah,
the answer is because it looks cool that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And it's like, it's fiction. How do you kill a vampire?
But they could do it right. They could.
And I don't think they're doing it wrong necessarily. I want to see how it's executed in the context of a story.
Okay, we'll see. But I still think that it gave me really bad vibes of look at me, I'm important, I'm Batman, I'm dark. It felt to me like it was trying too hard. But we'll see, because we're gonna see the movie. I mean, I'm not gonna. The trailer is gonna take me off of that.
You could be right about that. I think that probably is what they're. I think that's the interpretation of Batman they want to do, is a very angry Batman. Which we didn't really have in Justice League.
Well, yeah, but the movie itself is trying too hard. Like, if there was just angry Batman, okay, I could deal with that. But
I don't know. I like when movies try hard.
I mean, yeah, but there's trying hard, and then there's obviously trying hard, smacking you in the face with its dick. I mean, it's like, it's not. It's.
We got a lot of. I don't want to spend a lot of leverage on Bat Dick.
Yeah, well, I don't want to spend watching a movie having it be so overblown, trying to force the audience to. It's like trying to force the audience to feel something for somebody, right? Like when you do it too obviously, they're going to have the opposite reaction.
But it's so hard to make these judgments out of a 2-minute snippet.
I get it, but it's not a good thing. Like, I didn't feel that way for Shazam or for.
But it's a different tone of movie. Like we didn't get anything on Black Adam. We got one, so that's hard. Yeah, that's hard. Like with it, like I get it. That's a different type of movie. Like, those are movies based in wonderment, right? Which clearly has more.
Well, Black Adam's more like terrifying than.
But it's the dark side of. But it's like the dark side of wonder, right? Like Shazam is like when wonder goes right. Black Adam is when wonder goes wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
Whereas this is supposed to be street level, kind of ugly. Like, that's what they're going for. The cinematography in this is harsh. It's gorgeous. It's very different than what Wally Feister did in the Dark Knight movies, right? Like, that was a little bit more grainy and like urban gritty. This is more like painting a picture, right? With like, there's a lot of orange going on. There's a lot of dark, like contrast, as opposed to like what we did in the Dark Knight, which is more like Michael Mann style urban, like gritty as in like the film is grainy, right? Low lighting, like neons, like old glowy stuff. Like, this is like, it looks different, and that's what I dig. Sorry, I got to go off on a little art direction tangent that I don't get to go on too much anymore.
Yeah, but as John, I would have to point out that his is the only superhero dick that we have seen.
Oh God!
In the comics.
We got so much lever. We got so much mileage on a bat dong.
Sometimes I say things and I regret. Okay, so
well, you got the Dick Knight. How did I not think about that before?
Nice.
Well, while John and JD ponder the Dick Knight, we will take our second and final commercial break. Be right back with our main topic.
Honestly, should we just wrap? It's 10:30.
Yeah.
Like, we've already got basically a 2-hour episode. Should we just hold this off for next week? Because we had a lot of stuff to talk about this week.
Oh, fine. All right.
I'm looking at old man O'Grady down there, and he looks like he's going to pass out.
I'm sorry. Cold medicine. So
Old medicine.
yeah.
All right.
Well, you know, when it gets cold outside, you take the cold medicine, right? It's like,
I thought you said the old medicine.
no, that I
That made me laugh. I took the old medicine. The medicine either to make you old or that could kill you because it is old.
All right, and scene. All right, so we didn't take a commercial break. Dick Knight. All right, so we've decided to wrap it because John is getting tired and old.
Okay, I'll take it.
He's getting older by the minute as we're watching him here.
Hi.
Take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Hopefully not.
So let's wrap it up with some recommendations for
Neil Young.
Our audience. John, do you recommend not taking cold medicine right before you record a podcast?
I would normally do that, yes, unless I couldn't do the podcast without that, which is, you know, part of the problem.
Mild form of addiction.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna. I again, Squid Game caught my. I really didn't think I would like it, and it does because it does one of the things that I don't like, or like I'm not really in a great place in life right now, so it's hard for me to watch movies about people being just really evil to each other.
Fair,
but it just seems like the protagonist in this is going through some kind of, you know, like he's learning and it's some kind of awakening, and the direction and the storyline are just, I don't know why it caught me. So, you know, if you're hesitant, give it a try. It might not be quite exactly what you think it is, you know?
Okay. I'm not in a great place either, and I feel like watching people be evil to each other makes me feel better about myself. All right, JD, how about you? What do you recommend?
I'm still finishing Dracul, so I'll probably hold on for that for another week. I want to see how they stick at the landing. I'm going to recommend this season of The Movies That Made Us on Netflix. Took a nice little break from doing some stuff, and I watched a little TV this week, and I just love documentary. And this season, they went over a bunch of movies from the 80s and 90s that are really good, and that are short documentaries. The ones that I liked in particular were the Back to the Future episode.
I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, they had a lot of Eric Stoltz stuff in it, which they've over the years they've started to let more and more of that stuff creep out into the world, because I guess Eric Stoltz was just terrible as Marty McFly. So the more we can see of that, the better.
Not terrible, not the tone.
Terribly miscast as well.
Right, he wasn't the tone they were looking for from the movie. Yeah,
right. He was not. He was playing this as, oh my God, I'm back. I'm traveling back in time, as opposed to Michael J. Fox, who was just, you know, winning us over with charisma.
Yes.
You know,
we wouldn't have Rick and Morty if they had played that.
No, you're 100% right. There's a lot. I mean, it's not a classic if it's not the tone that it was. So they were right. The second one was the Nightmare Before Christmas episode, which is great. And that we talked earlier about VHS and how that resurrected so many dead movies. And this is a great example of it, because they made it, Disney liked it, and the first test results, the kids didn't know what to do with it.
Because it's kind of
out there. Right. So they released it as Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, and they put it as a Touchstone film, and it broke even. And they were like, oh, okay, it's what it is. And then it took a decade, but on home video, it became a classic to the point where Disney's now like, yes, the Nightmare Before Christmas, that was us.
Yeah. And we get a lot of cosplay like about that. And the Nostalgia Critic just did a review of Nightmare Before Christmas too.
It's aged really well. And it was just a movie, and it's in its time. That happens a lot, right? Movies, like sometimes they're just a little too ahead of their time, right? And I think that was the case of The Nightmare Before Christmas, is people didn't quite know what to make of it. Now, The Outsider is a little different, right? There's a little bit more of an acceptance for something different.
Yeah.
So it's become the classic it always deserved to be, and it was a great story, and especially from Danny Elfman's perspective, it's really good.
There's a series on Disney Plus about like artifacts from Disney. I can't remember the name of the show, and one of the ones they do is A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's all props and stuff from movies, and it's just so funny, like, because today they would do all that probably computer animation.
It took 2 years to make that movie.
Yeah, like and there are people that still have pieces from that movie, and the puppets, I mean, some of them are falling apart.
Well, it's been 30 years.
Exactly, but yeah, it's amazing.
Should have bronzed them.
That's a full stop motion film, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the old school, like Gumby. They just move it a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant film, and the story behind it, how it came together, it was really intriguing. So yeah, that's the Movies That Made Us on Netflix.
Cool. It doesn't come out till November, but the there's a documentary coming out that I'm excited for. Oh, what's it called? Beatles.
Ooh.
Shoot, hold on. I just looked it up and I can't remember now.
So Shitty Beatles. It's not
It
just
is.
a clever name.
Get Back.
Oh, that's a good title.
So I didn't like.
Huh.
So Peter Jackson.
Oh.
Followed the Beatles around for, I can't remember how long they said, like almost a year with cameras. This is when they were in Abbey Road, locked in Abbey Road, writing and recording.
Wow.
Peter Jackson.
The Peter Jackson?
The Peter Jackson.
How? Was he like 12? How old is Peter Jackson?
I don't know. All I know is they keep saying Peter Jackson, so I assume they mean the Peter Jackson, unless there's another Peter Jackson.
No, this is that Peter Jackson, I think. Yeah, this is that Peter Jackson. Yeah.
I think he's older than people realize.
He must be.
Because that was 51 years ago.
And it builds up to their final concert, the one on the rooftop.
Peter Jackson was born in 61. I want to say, I got to read into this, Dave. This sounds absolutely
He would have been
fascinating.
9 then.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what it is? Maybe it's not Peter Jackson. Maybe there's a film crew. Maybe he put the film together.
He probably put the movie together based on some. Yeah, okay. I'll go.
So the idea is that this is film stock that was locked away for 50 years that like no one touched, and they put it together in this documentary.
Okay, because there is a documentary that's basically about the Beatles breaking up and that last road, the rooftop performance. He probably, my guess is he's probably taken like a new look at some of that footage and did his own story.
All I know is I've seen most of those documentaries, and there's a lot of footage they showed in the preview that I've never seen before.
Fascinating. Wow. Okay, this sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, like apparently the argument is in this documentary that led to their breaking up. And I didn't know this, like that they show this in the clips too. George Harrison actually quit the band right before that concert and then came back.
Well, I remember George was the one who was kind of like, I'm out of here. Because he's the one who puts out the first solo album, right?
No, Paul was.
Oh, was it Paul? Okay.
Paul came out first? I thought all
McCartney came out first. In fact, McCartney came out before Let It Be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
His Wings stuff?
No, this is no, McCartney was solo. That was before before Wings.
Okay.
Yeah. Then actually, technically their last album is Abbey Road, and then Let It Be was just stuff that their producer George Martin, put together. And
Let It Be was Phil Spector.
Oh God, Phil Spector is a whole can of.
Original Let It Be was Phil Spector, and they remixed it in like 2003.
Yes, yeah, they're
which
right.
is actually the better version. I think that's the better version of Let It Be.
Yeah,
is the remix
because Phil Spector is a can of crazy.
Great music producer. Oh, true. All the sound was good.
So,
He's nuts.
Yes. So, but that's not till November. But I'm looking forward to that. Oh wow, I will recommend. Man, we went off on so many tangents tonight.
Tangent City, baby.
I will recommend that you go to our website, superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, and comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. And other than something looking forward to, I will recommend you go to Disney Plus right now. And if you haven't watched it yet, watch Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales, because I promise you that is what we will be talking about next week on the podcast. So until then, as always, thanks for hanging out. Don't let your cape get caught in the door.